This is the area where Kaylee Anthony's remains were found. Video taken 1 month before the discovery. Tonight, for the first time, the man who shot this video tells us why he ended up in the woods that day. Good evening, I'm Amy Caulfield.
And I'm Mike Dunstan. In November, Dominic Casey, the Anthony's private investigator, and James Hoover, an investigator who offered his services to the family, were in the area near Suburban Drive and Hope Spring Drive. Now, Dominic Casey told us he was looking in the area because of information released in police documents. And tonight he confirms that he had talked to a psychic. Now, little by little, James Hoover is opening up to Fox 35. Holly Bristow talked with a psychic and Hoover for quite a while today. Holly, what'd you find out?
Well, when I spoke with Hoover this morning, he said, Holly, the thing that you need to find out is who Dominic Casey was on the phone with that day that we were out in the woods. He says Dominic Casey told him when he arrived to meet Casey that morning that he knew where Kaylee Marie Anthony was, that she was no longer alive, and that they needed to go find her. Now, I just spoke with a psychic on the phone out of Virginia. She's also a dowser, a person that knows how to find things that are buried, put the two skills together. She said that a while ago she had spoke with John Allen about the case. She'd gotten some sort of intermediary person to send her a teddy bear to get a feel for Kaylee Marie Anthony. She woke up the morning of November 15th and said, I know where this child is. Go find her. Take a look. November 15th, James Hoover tells me he picked up Dominic Casey at his office. Their plan to grab breakfast and go to the meet and greet Cindy and George Anthony were hosting at the Help Find Kaylee headquarters. On the way, he says Dominic told him to drive to the Anthony's neighborhood and pull over next to this wooded area. Hoover says he started shooting this video from inside his car at 9:15 a.m. It's blue, he says, because his camera was malfunctioning. So he switches cameras, loses track of Dominic Casey. Next thing he knows, the other private eye is on the phone looking through the woods. To this day, Hoover says he does not know who Dominic Casey was talking to. He does tell me that Dominic Casey was telling him to look for 3 flat stones. Hoover does not know the significance, but goes along anyway. The stones aren't easy to find. Instead, they find trash, an empty quart of oil, and a blanket. They leave to go to the meet and greet and return to the same wooded area early the next morning. This day, Dominic Casey has some sort of stick. Watch as he pokes it several inches into the ground through debris. They walk around looking some more, but there is no sign of Kaylee Marie Anthony. And as I did mention, this psychic is also a dowser. She's good at finding things beneath the surface. She was telling Dominic Casey to poke around, do it gently. If it sticks, you may have found Kaylee Marie Anthony. Now, we did do a phone interview with this woman, and you will hear from her here on Fox 35 coming up at 6 o'clock. For now, live in the newsroom, Holly Bristow, Fox 35.
All right, Holly, we will definitely watch for that. Thanks so much.
More now on that psychic who spoke with the private investigator as he searched for Kaylee. We have now learned how this psychic got involved with the case and what she told Dominic Casey. Holly Bristow is live in the newsroom to continue our team coverage. And Holly, I know late this afternoon you spoke with the psychic on the phone. What did she have to say?
Well, Karine, I'll tell you what she had to say was very interesting. Back in late October or early November, a middleman got a teddy bear from the Anthonys and sent it to this psychic who's also a dowser, somebody that digs and can find things underground. She tells me she got a vibe from the bear and spent some time with some maps, and at first things were a bit confusing. Then, Saturday, November 15th, she woke up in the middle of the night with a vision, a location.
And I guess I tried calling Dominic's office around 3 a.m. saying, call me as soon as possible. I've got your answer for the fast and final. I call it fast and final. And basically what I'm saying is go to this site. This is where the remains are going to be. He called me between 6 and 7 a.m. And he asked me whether she was alive or deceased. And I said, you're going to have to relax. Unfortunately, I'm bringing a bearer of bad news that I believe she's deceased. I said, you know, it looks like to me you leave the house and you go to the end of the sidewalk and you take a right and you go to the end of the street. And I said, the street does a funny curve or something. And then you take a right again. He went down there and he said, I don't see it. And I said, well, keep going into the woods. Keep going into the woods. I said, look for trash. Look for a plastic bag. It could be white, black, or green. Where I said, try to look for what looks like a paver or a rock the size of a man's hand, a larger person's hand, 3 times the size of a hand. And I said, stand there and then look around and then look for some trash, and that's going to guide you in all different directions. And I said, then start pulling up the trash very carefully. The minute you find some trash, especially trash bags, that's when you know you found something. I said, the dirt is loose. Keep looking, keep looking. I said, take a rod, stick it in the ground. If something sticks, then you know you might have something there. I said, just don't mess it up too much because it's a crime scene.
And she also told Casey to not tell the Anthonys until he found something. The psychic tells me she spent several hours on the phone with Dominic Casey throughout that weekend, that Saturday and that Sunday. She says she kept telling him to look harder, that he was very close. And just for the record, this psychic has never been to the Anthonys neighborhood. She tells me she hasn't even been to the state of Florida in over a year. Live in the newsroom, Holly Bristow, Fox 35 News at 6.
Holly, thank